I remember this one month like it was yesterday. It was the end of June. I had one credit card with a $5,000 limit. I used it normally groceries, fuel, a couple subscriptions, nothing crazy. By the time I checked my balance, it was sitting around $3,200. No panic. I already had a plan. On July 1st, I paid the entire thing off. Every dollar. Balance went to zero. I even took a screenshot because, discipline. Then a week later, I checked my credit score. It dropped. Not by 5 points, not by 10. It dropped by almost 40 points. And I'm sitting there thinking, how? I didn't miss a payment. I didn't carry a balance. I did exactly what they tell you to do. Pay on time, pay in full, be responsible. So how do you do everything right and still get punished? That's the part nobody explains. Here is the thing, that situation, that's not rare. That happens to millions of people every single month. People who are trying to be responsible, people who are paying their cards on time, people who genuinely believe they're doing everything correctly. And then out of nowhere, their score drops, applications get denied, interest rates go up. And the worst part? Nobody tells you why. Because the real reason is buried. It's hidden in how the system actually works, not how it's explained to you. You were taught, pay your bill by the due date, and you're good. That sounds logical. It sounds fair. But that's not how the system measures you. This isn't a you problem. This is a knowledge gap, a system design gap. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what's happening behind the scenes, the precise moment your credit score is actually being judged, and why it's not the due date. I'll break down the one date that matters more than anything else, the statement closing date, and how a simple timing shift of just a few days can completely change how your score looks. We'll go through the exact percentages, the thresholds, and the strategy that can boost your score without spending less money or earning more. Hey, I'm Brian, and I spend way too much time thinking about how this system really works, not how it's marketed to you. If you want more breakdowns like this, the stuff that actually moves your money and your score, hit subscribe. It helps the channel, and it makes sure you don't miss what most people never learn. Most people believe one thing about credit cards. If I pay my bill on time and in full, I'm doing everything right. And to be fair, that belief makes perfect sense. That's what every bank, every blog, every financial tip tells you. Pay on time, avoid interest, done. But here is the problem. Your credit score is not a live scoreboard updating every time you make a payment. It's not watching your good behavior in real time. It's more like a security camera that takes one single snapshot per month. And whatever is in that snapshot, that's what gets judged. Not what you paid after, not what you plan to do, not your intentions. Just that one frozen moment. So you could pay your balance in full, look responsible, feel responsible. But if the snapshot was taken before you paid it off, to the system, you look maxed out. And that's where everything starts to break. If you're new here and just subscribed, comment your name below. I read every comment and shout out new subscribers in my next video. I do appreciate you joining me on this finance journey. So let's zoom in on that snapshot, because this is where everything changes. Every credit card you have runs on a monthly cycle. Inside that cycle, there are two dates that matter, but only one of them actually affects your score. You've got your due date, that's the one you see. That's the one the bank reminds you about. That's the one tied to interest and late fees. And then there's the one nobody talks about, your statement closing date. That's the day your bank takes a snapshot of your balance and sends it to the credit bureaus. Not when you pay, not when you intend to pay, that exact day. Let me show you how this plays out with real numbers. Let's say your credit limit is $5,000. Over the month, you spend $3,000. Completely normal. Now your statement closing date is the 25th, but your due date is the 15th of the next month. Most people wait. They think, I'll just pay it before the due date. So on the 1st, they pay the full $3,000. Balance goes to zero. Feels perfect. But here's what actually happened. On the 25th, 5 days before you paid it, your balance was still $3,000. That's 60% utilization. That's the number that got reported. So even though you paid everything off, even though you never carried a balance, the system recorded you as someone using over half your limit. That's the gap. what you think is being measured versus what is actually being recorded. And once you see that, the score drop suddenly makes sense. Now let's talk about why this matters so much, because this isn't a small detail. Credit utilization, the amount of your limit you're using, makes up about 30% of your entire credit score. That's massive. And it works on thresholds, invisible lines that trigger different reactions from the system. Below 10%? You're in the safest zone. You look controlled, predictable, low risk. Between 10 and 30%? Still acceptable, but you're starting to lose points. Cross 30%? Now you're flagged. Not denied immediately, but you look riskier. Hit 50, 60, 70% like in that example, that's where scores start dropping hard. And near 100%? That's when your score can go into freefall. Here is what makes it even more powerful. Utilization has zero memory. That means one good snapshot can erase a bad one from the month before. So the difference between reporting 60% and reporting 5% could be the difference between getting approved or getting rejected. Not because you spent differently, but because you timed it differently. Now this is where it gets even more interesting, because the obvious solution is also wrong. Most people hear this and think, okay, I'll just report zero. I'll pay everything off before the closing date. Sounds perfect, right? But here is the thing. If all your cards report zero, your score can actually drop slightly. Because to the system, it looks like you're not using credit at all. And lenders don't just want to see that you can avoid debt, they want to see that you can use it and control it. So the optimal strategy isn't zero across the board. It's what insiders call all zero except one. Every card reports zero, except one card, which reports a tiny balance. 1%, maybe $10, something small. That shows activity without risk. It's controlled usage, and that's what the system rewards the most. So here's exactly how you put this into practice, step by step. Step 1, find your statement closing date. Not your due date, your closing date. It's usually listed in your account details or on your statement. If you can't find it, call your card issuer and ask directly. Step 2, track your balance a few days before that date. 3 to 4 days before your closing date, check how much you've used. That number is what's about to get reported if you do nothing. Step 3, bring your balance down early. Before the closing date hits, pay your balance down to below 10% of your limit, ideally closer to 1%. If your limit is $5,000, that means leaving somewhere between $50 and maybe even just $10. Step 4, use the all zero except one method. If you have multiple cards, pay all of them down to zero before their closing dates. Then pick one card and leave that tiny balance on it. Step 5, let the statement close. Now the system takes its snapshot, low utilization, perfect positioning. Step 6, pay the rest off by the due date. So you still avoid interest. You're just controlling what gets reported first. Step 7, verify it worked. Check your credit report or your credit monitoring app a few weeks later. You should see the lower balances reflected. And one more thing. This level of precision matters most when you're about to apply for something, a loan, a mortgage, a new card within the next 60 days. That's when a 20, 30, even 50-point swing can actually change outcomes. You're not changing your spending. You're changing the moment the system sees you. Now, quick warning, because this is where people take a smart strategy and turn it into a problem. There's something called credit cycling. That's when you spend up to your limit, pay it off, then spend it again, multiple times in the same month to artificially keep your utilization low. On the surface, it looks like you're just being efficient. But to the bank, that can look like risky behavior, or even fraud. And when that happens, they don't send you a warning email. They freeze your account. They slash your limit. Sometimes they shut the card down completely. So don't game the system. Just control the timing of what you were already going to spend. One more thing most people overlook. Don't close your old credit cards, even if you don't use them much. Because the moment you close a card, you lose that available credit, and your utilization ratio jumps instantly. Same spending, smaller limit, higher percentage, lower score. Keep them open. Let them quietly strengthen your profile in the background. Find your statement closing date. That's the real reporting day. Pay your balance 3 to 4 days before your utilization drops before the snapshot. Keep usage below 10%. You stay in the safe zone. Let one card report a small balance shows controlled activity. Pay the rest by the due date. Avoid interest completely. Do this before applying for anything your score shows its best version. Here's your challenge. This week, find your statement closing date and adjust just one payment before it hits, then come back and tell me what happened to your score. Your comment might be the thing that helps someone else finally understand this. And if you want more of these insider breakdowns, hit subscribe because this is the stuff nobody teaches, but everybody gets judged on.